Welcome back to the American Market Alchemist. Today, I'm very excited because I have on the episode today James Donovan, who is from 92 Media. They help firms add an additional 40K of revenue within 6 months using LinkedIn. James is based in Canada. James, you're Canadian, right?
Yep, that's right.
All right. Awesome. Great. Welcome to the podcast. Very excited to have you on because I love LinkedIn as a tool for lead generation. And when I saw that that's one of the things that you do, I was like, I've got to get him onto this podcast because the listeners of this podcast are also using LinkedIn a lot for their lead generation in the North American market. And so I'm really excited to really dive into this topic with you today and probably learn some things for myself also. So this is kind of I'm doing it for my audience, but I'm also doing it for myself. So,
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to dive into it.
right. So maybe just to start off, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do and yeah, maybe how you've helped European or foreign entrepreneurs in general kind of develop their business in the US.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, we're based out of Canada, or I guess registered out of Canada. We're kind of
Mm.
all over. Our
Yeah.
team's remote. I live in Eastern Canada, spend my winters in Mexico. We've got
Nice.
team members in the US, team members in Central and South America, in Asia. So we're kind of all over.
Yeah.
And we primarily work with firms in the States, but
Mhm.
we'll talk about today, those principles apply, across the globe
Right.
um, for B2B. And what it is we're doing is helping firms generate leads from their personal profiles on LinkedIn using cold outreach, using Sales Navigator to get in front of decision makers who have the budget and can afford their
Mm.
services. So we're more about the quality versus quantity play. You
Yeah.
can go run ads and get a pile of leads, name, phone numbers, emails. Anyone can do that.
Mm.
But we're more in the business of let's get our clients speaking to someone who we know has the budget, they have a problem they've admitted, and they're ready
Hmm.
to speak to them. And that's
Right.
what
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's important. The whole quality over quantity, question. I see a lot of, just advertisements for things like, you can automate everything and send, we'll scrape all this data and we're going to send out 10,000 messages. I'm like, I don't want you to send out 10,000 messages a day. I want you to send like 10 very highly qualified, personalized messages a
yeah,
day instead. Okay, yeah. So very much looking forward to getting into that. And so, yeah, in terms of LinkedIn lead generation, which I think is a big part of a lot of businesses' strategies. Um, what sort of method would you recommend for that? Or maybe can you walk us through like how do you do this for your clients?
definitely. So the first thing that anyone should be doing when doing outreach on LinkedIn is setting up your personal profile to
Mm,
showcase who's the leader in your space. You
yeah.
need to think of your personal profile as like your sales landing page. You need to
Mm,
have authority shown on that page before you do anything, because everything else is going to struggle if your profile is not set up properly. So have a professional cover photo, have your information on how people can get in touch with you. So many people
mm,
miss the mark on this. Have
yeah.
your email, have your phone number, what's your call to action. A lot of people hide their information
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, but it's like you're there to attract and have conversations. Like make it easy for people to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Uh, your about us section should be really quick about who you work with and the problems you solve. And
Mm,
then the featured photo section, it's below the fold, but I really like putting in testimonials, case study
mm,
results in there. So as someone's scrolling through, they see a huge, there's a ton of social proof that's there to
yeah.
back the profile.
Right. Yeah.
From
Yeah. Yeah.
there, or
Mhm.
sorry,
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I think you really have to think of your LinkedIn profile. I think some people think of it as it's like, oh, it's my online resume. I'm like, no, it's your portfolio and your sales page for you. So yeah.
it's basically your online business card that can do way
Mm.
more than a piece of paper in someone's
Yeah.
wallet.
Yeah, exactly. And and they can come in and they see updates and things that you're talking about and posting regularly. So um very interesting, very interesting. And I'm just curious because if I remember correctly, you've worked with clients, you've both with American clients, but also you've worked with some non-American clients, let's say.
Yep.
Do you see any major differences when, let's say, and I don't know, maybe there's not a huge difference. If somebody's coming to you because they need help, maybe there's not a huge difference between the mistakes an American is making and the mistakes that a non-American is making. But I don't know. Is there, or you tell me?
I haven't noticed a ton. We don't have an insane amount of
Mm,
history working with
right.
business based out of Europe.
Yeah.
We worked with a handful out of the UK, and
Mm,
to be honest, again, a lot of it's the same principles, right? Just
yeah.
reach out to someone, try to agitate their pain, and
Mm,
then have a call to action. Do that within 2 to 3 sentences to make it look very personalized and short. If
mm,
someone can read the message as a preview on their phone, your message is the right length. If they have to hit see more or open,
mm.
your message is too long and you're gonna lose the audience's attention.
Very, very good point there. And I think especially, because I live here in France and I work with a lot of European companies and entrepreneurs. And I feel like maybe that is a difference in communication. Like what you just said, you're like, it has to be super short. Whereas I feel like here, the I would say kind of classic approach is like we need to make it longer so that there's more information and more background and more detail. And I think that that can be a big intercultural communication difference is when you're going into the North American market, shorter is better, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's thinking outside the box a bit and putting yourself in your prospect's shoes. If you're sending that message, just think about how many messages you get in general. So
Mm,
yeah, you want to think your message is going to stand out, but it probably isn't
right.
because you're getting 20 other messages that day. So how do you stand out from the crowd? Don't do what everyone else is doing. And what I was speaking about on a recent podcast on how to try to build out messaging and what to look for is really just reverse engineer. Like whatever you see come through in
Mm,
your inbox that really makes you cringe or get upset or just like hit delete or spam,
yeah.
completely do the opposite of that.
Right. Don't do that. Right.
Don't do that, and then that alone will help you stand out from the noise.
Very interesting. And yeah, speaking of like tips and things like that, what would be some, I don't know, if, secret tips or just good tips that you would give to somebody that's going to help to make their LinkedIn profile stand out?
Yeah, one thing that we've tell all of our clients that we've put in, we've had it for a couple of years now, is the pronunciation section on your profile.
Mm,
So a lot of websites, or especially on LinkedIn, you use this to pronounce your name, and it's super boring, like on
yeah.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares about that. But if you go on the mobile app for LinkedIn, you can't do it from the desktop. So on the mobile app,
Okay.
you go into your settings. I forget the exact steps, but you can find it. And you
Yeah.
go under pronunciation. You have about 10 seconds of real estate to record a
Mm,
message or a voice note.
yeah.
Use that to basically drop your tagline and introduce yourself. So when someone clicks on your page, it's not how to pronounce your name. It's 10 seconds
Oh,
of like
right.
enthusiasm and what it is you're doing and the problems you're solving. That
Oh,
is what
right.
will separate you from someone else's profile they're clicking on.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can, I guess there's kind of killing two birds with one stone there. A, they're gonna learn how to pronounce your name, which like, if you are a foreign entrepreneur and you're coming into the US market, you might have a name that people are not sure how to pronounce and they might not feel comfortable asking you, like, how do I pronounce your name? So just kind of eliminating that little bit of friction can be already a positive interaction that they're having with you without actually talking to you.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, if you can, and I think that's really interesting. You've got 10 seconds and you can get like this little micro pitch or like one sentence, like you said, and express that enthusiasm. So maybe there's a little bit of work to do on the intonation and what you say, but how can you condense, you know, your energy, your enthusiasm, and your message into like a little tiny 10-second recording? Um, I might have to make a little video on that soon.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
a really
yeah.
good way to like leave that hook and
Yeah.
for the individual to be like, I need to reach out to them. I need to know more about what they're doing. Like I'm intrigued now, I'm curious.
Yeah.
That's really the point of that. Like use that to drive someone else to be like, I need to talk to you. Like what is
Right. Yeah. Yeah, to just maybe like invite you to connect with them, maybe send a message to say, "Hey, I found your profile, very interested, let's talk. Speaking of reach out, now in I would say a lot of the people that I work with, if I asked my European clients, what's the difference between American communication and the communication styles here in Europe, they would say, oh, Americans they're really direct and they're really to the point. But when you're trying to reach out to someone perhaps for the first time, yes, you want to be efficient and direct and to the point, but at the same time, you don't want to be too pushy. How would you balance that out with being direct to the point and efficient, but also not overly pushy?
Yeah, that's a great question. My team would probably laugh, or they'll laugh minutes back because they know I'm way more direct and
Mm,
point, and I'm just like, let's get rid of all of the fluff. Like, what do we need
yeah,
to know, and when is it going to happen?
right.
Uh, I think it really just comes down to testing. Like, we've had specific
Mm,
campaigns we put out that are extremely direct in the first message. It's like,
right.
yes, this is a cold message. We sell our service for X amount. This is what we do. Are you interested? And
Hmm.
we had people respond back positively, and they're like, "Hey, I love the transparency. Let's have a call." And
Yeah.
now, biggest thing, the elephant in the room, it's out on the table. Ultimately, the conversation is going to come down to that. So that's out of the way. And then you're going to get people, "Hey, thanks for the transparency. I'm not interested," or they're just not interested. So that's
Mm,
fine. A
yeah.
more um, softer approach, again, like we work with a lot of fractional CFOs, helping them
Mm,
help them get clients. So we'll reach out
right.
to a construction firm. Hey, business owner, when was the last time your existing CPA looked at your profit margins?
Right.
We already know they have a CPA, so we're addressing that objection in the first message.
Okay.
And hey, I got a couple strategies I'd love to run by you. Would it make sense to talk? So we're kind of putting the ball in their court. We're piquing their curiosity. If we got some strategies, we'd love your
Mm,
opinion on. And we're addressing that first objection. Like, we already know you have a CPA,
yeah.
but you can't say, I'm not interested, I have one.
Right.
Just again, a couple short messages. Think about what's the most common pain your audience sees. What are the most common objections you're getting, and just handle that in your messaging, and then have a call to action.
Okay, right. So yeah, really it's I would say, yeah, maybe the direct part is the call to action, making it clear, like what do you want them to do,
Yep.
and then you can test out different, let's say, different degrees of directness. Like you said, the very transparent, like, hey, this is a cold reach out message. This is what we offer. Are you, And I really kind of like that, because, like you said, it's short, it's to the point, it's very clear. Like this is the reason like you're not like pretending to be interested in them to, maybe 5 exchanges later find out they just wanna sell you something.
Yep.
So it's just like, "Hey, this is what we do. Are you interested?" And I imagine, you tell me if this is different, but if I got that message, if it's something that I might be in now, if it's something that I'm just not interested, I'm either gonna just ignore them and that's okay, or say, "Thanks, but no thanks." If it's something that I might be interested in, probably what I'm gonna do is go and look at their profile. So what you said about having your profile in order being very important. Maybe go and check out what they're publishing, see if they've got a website, go and check that out, and then I'm gonna respond to them. But at least that type of message, if it is something that I might be interested in, gets me engaging with you. You don't know it because I'm just kind of scoping you out on the internet, but I'm engaging with you and I'm looking at what you're doing and I'm evaluating, do I want to respond to this person? And I think that is perhaps maybe an underestimated objective of the DMs, because ideally, we want to send a DM the person we want them to say, "Yeah, I'm interested. When can I talk to you?" I don't know how often that really happens, but at least we're getting them to interact with us in a different way.
And they're going to start consuming your content a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's really nice about LinkedIn, when you have Sales Navigator, you can see when someone views your profile. That
Yeah.
is a nice notification of, okay, so I sent this out. They
Yeah.
went into my profile. You can put two and two together.
Yeah.
You can just mention them back. Hey, I haven't heard back from you. Is there anything in particular you liked on my profile? Is there anything that stood out to you? Ask
Mm,
another question based off some of the information you have. There's a lot
mm,
of other tools out there for pixel tracking to see where people are going, if they're on your site, all of those things. So you can
yeah.
get into, the weeds with all of that. But
Yeah.
just inside of LinkedIn, when someone views your page, I like to be a little bit um, cheeky about it and just send them a
Mhm.
message. And you can be as direct as well. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I saw you on my page.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
yeah.
met
I know you're looking at me. I see you. Right.
respond. What's up?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and again, I think, anybody who's using LinkedIn very often, they know that these things exist. So if I'm on LinkedIn and I go and I look at somebody and I get a DM from them right after, I'm like, this is not a coincidence. They saw that I looked at them and they're reaching out. And I'm like, hey, they're using it well. I'm kind of impressed actually, more than because I think we might think, yeah, an objection we might have is like, that's a little creepy if I send them a message when they're looking at me. But the way I see it, I was like, I see that this person knows how to use this tool and I'm impressed by their skills. So,
Well, it's
yeah.
like if you're at a networking event, right? And there's someone across the room looking at you,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it might feel a little awkward, but if they walk over and start to speak to you, they're like, okay, well, what from me caught their attention? Or think of it that way. Like it's a massive networking event is what's
Yeah.
taking. It's all done online.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good way of, yeah. We're at one big giant trade show,
Yep.
and we just all have to go and talk to each other and figure out, is it interesting for us to continue a conversation? But you've got kind of the added advantage of being able to scope them out a little before you go and approach them. So, yeah, right. So, what about let's say, so you approach somebody, you DM them, great, to a appointment. But what are some of the difficulties that you've seen that people face when they're trying to maybe call up leads or maybe set appointments in the DMs? And if you've got any insights of, again, American clients or entrepreneurs versus foreign entrepreneurs, but what are some of the general
Yeah.
difficulties that people have?
Great question. It's the biggest thing is speed to lead. Uh,
Mm,
when you get someone who's interested in what you're doing, call them right away. Unless
mm,
specifically said, like, I'm away for the next 2 weeks, don't reach out to me,
right.
or I'm super busy, I cannot look at this for another 90 days. Okay, no worries. Hey, sounds good. I'll put you on my radar. I'll reach back out. Anything else, when someone replies back, hey, this sounds pretty cool. Can you tell me a little bit more? Pick up the phone and call them. Hey,
Mm,
speaking on LinkedIn about XYZ. Does that ring a bell? And go into the conversation. And if it's not a good time, no worries. When can we set up a time to speak about this in the next couple of days?
yeah.
Calling someone as soon as possible is going to go so much further than sitting on it and waiting. And should I wait a couple days? No, because someone else is going to message them and
Yeah.
get their attention, and that person's going to call them.
Yeah.
Um, I was reaching out to a couple contractors the other day actually to get some stuff done around the house.
Yeah.
Reaching out to multiple companies. It took one person 6 days to get back to me. I left a voicemail. I was like, "Hey, I want a quote. I want this job. Like, I want this job done. I have money to be
Yeah.
spent."
Yeah.
He called back 6 days later. He's like, "Hey, when can I come by?" I was like, "You can't because the other guy's literally here now doing the job.
Right. Right.
If you called me back same day, right away, like the money would have been yours." So
Yeah.
just call back people when they express interest.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this might be a difference in perception in the US or North America versus, I'm going to say here in France. I don't want to generalize in Europe because in other countries it might be different. But I feel like in the US, if you're there, if somebody contacts you or manifests some kind of interest and you jump on that like right then, people are like, wow, this person, they're on top of it. They're reactive. They want it. And that's seen as a positive thing. Whereas I've had people, or I've seen this on LinkedIn, somebody said, like, hey, I sent out um, a message saying I'm looking for, I don't know, a website designer or something, and this person, they called me up and they sent me a video message, and I was like, they must be desperate for work. And I feel like that can be kind of a difference in perception. In fact, in the US, if you jump on that sign, that signal that somebody wants to do business with you, that's going to be a positive thing. They see you as very reactive, very I'd say willing to do the work and to get on it and do it quickly. Whereas maybe here in France, and again, this could depend on different people, but it's like if you jump on it too soon, there might be this perception of like, oh, this person's a little desperate to get some work. I don't know if I want to work with them because it sounds like they're hungry for clients, and I don't know. But I feel like that is a difference in attitude to be aware of
Yeah.
for an entrepreneur going into the US. It's like, if you see that signal, jump on it right then. Don't wait 24
Yeah.
hours.
I can see both sides of the coin, and I think
Mm,
it's always just going to depend on the individual. But
yeah.
you can only control what you can control.
Right.
And the way I see it is, if you can control how fast you follow up with someone, and your mindset is, I full heartedly believe in my product, I'm doing them a disservice by not reaching out,
Yeah.
then okay, if you're fine with potentially losing out on business, you want to wait, play the 3-day rule, whatever it is,
Mm,
sure, do that. I just know from what we're doing with lead generation appointment setting, that also demonstrates how serious we are about helping out our own clients.
yeah.
So if we see a response come in, I jump on it right away. I speak to that person, they want to sign up. It's like, hey, what you just went through, that's literally what we're going to do for you.
Yeah.
So I
Exactly.
think it
Yeah.
just helps walk them through kind of a demo they don't really know they're a part of.
Interesting. Yeah. And I feel like it is what you just said. If you see that somebody's having a problem and you know that you can help them, then you're doing them a service of contacting them as soon as possible to try to help them with their problem. And seeing it that way, I feel like is a big mindset shift that we can have when we're trying to do sales and set appointments, rather than like, oh, I need to try to come and sell this person my thing, and all that stuff. Um, okay, now what about, how would you, I guess, help somebody who needs to maybe overcome a lack of credibility? They need to build up trust with their potential clients, especially if they are just getting started in the U.S. market and they're outside of the U.S. market. Especially, if they have a strong accent, which for better or worse, can sometimes interfere with the way that you're perceived in terms of credibility. So how can they use, I guess, their online presence, their profile, all of that to really try to overcome those challenges of doing business in a whole new market?
Yeah, I think social proof goes a long way.
Mm,
Um, Posting that content, showing that you've done it before, showing
yeah.
examples of your own work, giving value first, especially if you're going into a new market.
Mm,
Hey, here's the thing. This is the strategy I'm using, because the reality is, most people, you give them something to do, especially when it's free, they're not
mm,
going to do it because
yeah.
there's no accountability tied to it. If
Yeah.
they bought into something, they're more likely to do it. If it's free, they're not going to do it. So don't be scared to share your secrets. Like, no one's really going to take anything and reinvent your business.
Yeah.
um, a brand new market, some things I've seen people do when getting started, you could reach out to people and, again, just be super transparent. Hey, look, I've done this for companies all across Europe. I'm breaking into the US market. I would love to offer this to you for free or at a significantly discounted rate in return
Mm,
for a testimonial when you're happy. Do
yeah.
that for a couple different people. Now you have a couple case studies. The next
Mm,
to, hey, we charge X, Y, and Z, and we've done it for these 3 companies here. When do you want to get
yeah.
started?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like having, like you said, start off with the credibility you've got in your home market, use that to approach a couple of US clients. And like you said, offer it at a discounted rate. But, I think what they call market penetration pricing, drop your price in order to get into the market, get those testimonies. And then you can go and get other American clients and be like, look, we've worked with these other clients just like you. And yeah, I feel like that's a great tip. Right. Other question is, I would say we talked a little bit about the question of having a strong accent and things like that. And as long as you're interacting over LinkedIn, that's not a problem. But when you start maybe trying to cold call or call up people and try to get appointments, that can be a little challenging, especially English is not your native language. It's on the telephone, accent, etc. For you, so you guys, this is a service that you do. Like, you would actually call up people's clients or potential clients and try to get those appointments for them. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, right. And so what are the advantages that you've seen, based on the work you've done with other foreign clients, um, problems that they faced, how you help them, any results that you could share?
Yeah, so I don't know if we were doing any appointment setting for companies outside of the US,
Mm,
but I'd say the biggest advantage again is just the speed to lead. Like the
yeah,
business owners, they're busy. They're
yeah,
we email them, hey, you have a new lead. Like it's more so, hey, you're notified. Like there's things happening. This is exciting. Go check it out if you want. But they're not going to drop everything they're doing to call that person. So
mm,
that's jump in. We call them, and then the biggest thing is having qualification questions to run that person through. So
mm,
if you want to be respectful of your time and who you're speaking to, like what makes a qualified appointment for you? You can definitely confirm that they are owner decision maker. If you're not speaking to the decision maker, I don't really see the point in getting on a 30-minute call
mm,
because that's just going to get relayed on through and lost in translation to the decision maker. And you're
right.
going to have someone else try to sell what you sold them, and it's a game of telephone.
Yeah.
Asking what their annual revenue is, putting a list of your services. So with our accounting firms, we ask people, what are you most interested in? Monthly accounting, business advisory, tax planning, etc. So we're
Mm,
getting people's intent from there. And then we're getting them to rank where they're currently at with their financial structure. So there's only a couple questions because we don't want too much friction,
right.
but it's what's going to make the most sense for someone to meet. If they're a dollar less than a specific amount, if they don't want to
Mm,
meet with them, that's totally fine. Versus, hey, you said you're interested, let's talk, and locks 30 minutes off my calendar. Well,
right.
if the call takes 2 minutes and you find out it's not a fit at all, and you could have figured that out before, now you have 30 minutes wasted in your day.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's important because I feel like again, I think that that could be also be a difference that I've seen sort of here in Europe versus in the US. We tend to I've gotten onto 30-minute calls with potential clients and yeah, we talk about it and it's a very nice conversation, et cetera, et cetera. And we get to the end and I find out either they don't have the budget or they need to talk to five other people before a decision is made. And I'm like, I just spent like 30 to 45 minutes with you and this could have been handled in like maybe an email to figure this out or a quick 2-minute call. Yeah, I feel like just like you said, having a quick little call, somebody who can maybe call up a lead, qualify them, and then decide is it worth your extra 30 minutes to actually meet with them or not? Then, yeah, that just saves everybody time and money and it makes business so much more efficient.
Yep, 100%. There's
Mm,
nothing worse than hopping on and in the first 30 seconds, nothing's going to happen. And
exactly.
out of pleasantries, you hang around for 30 minutes. So just whatever those things are that you need to figure out prior, just ask them in
Yeah.
an email, put that on your booking form so they're required.
Yeah.
Like value your time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that value your time, value their time as well, and, do the qualification quickly and right up front, and then decide to maybe book in a longer meeting after, right? Okay, very interesting. So thank you very much, James. Before we finish up, if people wanna come and check out what you're doing and perhaps call up on you for your services, where can they find you?
Definitely on LinkedIn. Be
Okay.
crazy to say, it would be crazy to say anything else, I think, after
Right.
talking about LinkedIn for 30 or so minutes.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, or you can find us on our website, 92media.com. That's all spelled out, so NINETWO.
Mm.
We have more information there. We got some couple free resources as well. Would love to
Mm.
chat whoever wants to. If it's a good fit, awesome. If we can help you out, try to point you in the direction of someone else who can.
Right. Awesome. And well, yeah, I'll put all of the links to all of that down in the notes below the podcast as well. So they can just come and find you on LinkedIn, click over to your website, and then, yeah, use all of these strategies to start really building up their presence and their reach out and their, lead generation in the American market to build up their business and everybody. It's a win win win. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
right. Okay. Thanks, James. Have a great day. And yeah, we'll
You
see
as
you
well.
around the internet. See ya. Bye.